Okay, so here we have a translation and a short discussion of the last chapters of Pliny's letter 620, which describes his own experience in the eruption of Vesuvius along with his mother. And we have here chapters 19 and 20, leading to the final farewell, Vale, be strong. So, here we have the understood subject as we, and there we see it with emus on exegimus, which comes from agel agere egiactus. So we, having returned to Mycenum. Remember that for cities, towns, and small islands, you don't need a preposition. Instead, if you want to indicate motion towards that city, town, small island, accusative, which is what we have here, away from, ablative, you merely just put it in that case, and if it is at that city, town, small island, you put it in the locative. So, we, having returned to Mycenum, with, and here we have an ablative absolute, our bodies, having been curated, having been taken care of, having been cared for, utcumque, in whatever way possible, in whatever thing that we can do, as it were. So with our bodies having been curated in whatever way, we drove the night, i.e. we spent the night, and the night is going to be described as suspensam, having been suspended, having been hung up, as in that night seemed as though it would never end, and doubtful. And so therefore, it is a doubtful night that it indeed might be their very last one. We spent the night both in hope, by with, because of, from, and on at, ablative case, fifth declension, and in fear. Fear prevailed. Fear was strong, and so therefore they do not think that they are out of it. They do not think that they're after the disaster and or catastrophe. For both and, both a trembling of the earth persevered, it continued on, those kinds of tremors, those kinds of earthquakes continued on, and very many people, plerique, frantic with, and here we have ablative, and the lymphati means frantic or hysterical, if you would like, and very many people frantic with terrifying predictions, terrifying prognostications. They were mocking a deponent verb, ludificabantur. They were mocking their evils. They were making fun of their bad things that are happening, both their own evils they were mocking and the evils of others, other folks' evils. However, for us, ne quidam, we've seen that several times, meaning not even, then, tunc, meaning then, although, for us, having experienced, experio, experire, a perfect passive looking participle, because it is a deponent verb, and expecting danger, periculum, not even for us, a plan of going away. The verb, eoire, yikes, there, you may raise it if it will, eoire, its gerund and or gerundive forms are going to be nominative eanes for the nominative, eanes, nominative, masculine, feminine, and neuter. And then, of course, a un dis within all of the third declension endings that one would expect. And so therefore, here it is a gerund because it's not modifying anything, it's the act itself of going away. And so what they're saying is that for us indeed, not even then, a plan of going away, and they do not even consider leaving, departing, going away from Mycenum, until donec, a message de avunculo from the uncle. And so therefore they are indeed going to stay put until they get word either good or bad, and we all know, having read letter 616, that the message is going to be bad concerning the uncle because he is then going to be dead. Haec historia nequiquam. So, our subject is you, for leges. We ask the question, it is a third conjugation. You will read these things. And then you have the nequiquam. The nequiquam is obviously going to be a word by meaning like not at all or by no means. And so therefore, you will read these things, these things by no means worthy. The word dignus aum is going to always have an ablative object, but in English, idiomatically, we are going to translate it with the word of. I hate the fact that we translated the word of with an ablative because I try to ingrain in your brains that of is a preposition reserved for the translation of the genitive case. But remember that when it comes to the ablative, by, with, because of, from, in, on, at. And so therefore, in this word, we will translate it of. These things you will read not at all worthy of history. And here, scripturas is going to be then the modification of the word legere. You not about to write. And so therefore he is implying, obviously, in a self-deprecation that you are going to not think these things worthy to be able to be written. They are not worthy, as it were, to be summed up in a history of whatever sort it might be that you are writing, which is going to be quality stuff nevertheless. We continue on. And so, you not about to write the stuff, you will read it, these things not at all worthy of history, and obviously you will impute, you will blame yourself, that is what impute means, and it takes does imputabis, the dative case that we see there, and you will impute you yourself, obviously, you who requested it. Nevertheless, basically what he is saying is that you only have yourself to blame by the fact that you're asking me to give you the information. You're asking me to tell the story of my own experience, which is, of course, again, in self-deprecation, not at all worthy of the history. And if you will blame yourself, you will impute yourself, obviously, you the one who requested it, if these things, as it were, not even will seem worthy of a letter by. And so he's saying that obviously the stuff not worthy of history, and now he's saying that indeed these triflings, these details of my own experience, not even worthy then, obviously, of a letter. And you were the one that asked for it.